me to put the trail along the road, but not on the road. What they do here in Pennsylvania, you know, the share the road stuff. Bicycling is never going to catch on in this state as long as a bicyclist competes with a car. I mean, no parent is going to let their kid go out there on the shoulder. I wouldn't do it myself. Now, with the Netherlands, yes, I mean, they're so used to bike paths. Yeah, they have a lot of bike paths through the countryside. They're right through the farm. Yes, they do, because they have so many. But they also have a bike path along every road. And it's a mostly, not always, but mostly it's a separated bike path. And the chances of getting killed in the Netherlands on a bicycle is something like a sixth of the chance of getting killed on a bike in the US. It's like the safest place in the world to ride bicycle. So, but they're very careful to separate it. And so the way I would want to do it is you want to take part of the right-of-way of the road, and you put it along the road, but you don't put it on the road. But it's separated. So it's always important, because otherwise you get way, way too frustrated. Remember, everything you do has a symbolic value. There's a great value, even though no one outside of your area knows what you're doing, even though you're led up with frustrations. It's a lot of people doing the right thing and saying, if I'm doing the right thing, then I'm successful. I'm successful because I'm trying to do the right thing. In my town of Pottstown, what got me started with this whole thing, I lived across the street from our old Pottstown High School. 1982, and they tore it down. It was it's a parking lot that's empty all the time. It was the stupidest thing. And the next year, I said, this is 82, what can I do? About schools, I can't tell you how frustrating it is. School districts all across Pennsylvania are closing those walkable schools. Even where you have a town where they keep the school, now they're clustering grade levels. So this is a K1 school, this is 2-3, this is 4-5. You live across the street, you can still only go there for 2 years. I've been beating my head against the wall for 4 or 5 years, but we've had 1 or 2 victories to maybe 15 losses. But you say, well, it's symbolic, and I know that someday the culture's going to change, going to catch up. And we're 10 feet back, and has to be 15 feet down. You say, the code officer takes a look at your block and sees what's there, and then he does an average, and we allow some leeway so that the new house is about the same distance back from the street as the houses that are already there on the sides. And then we have design standards, and we encourage somebody to come in before you've paid for your architect and engineer and spent all that money, come in and give us an idea of what you want to do. Then we will help you design it, and we will find ways to, we hope, persuade you to do the right things. You ever get to Pottstown? We have the nicest looking McDonald's in Pennsylvania. A very good planner said to me, you get 80% of what you want from negotiations. In fact, let me tell you that, I can't resist telling you this little couplet, or this little rhyme, I guess, or whatever you call it, about countries in Europe that very much remind me of Pennsylvania. Here's how, in Germany, everything is allowed. In England, everything's allowed, what is forbidden. In Germany, everything is forbidden except what is allowed. In Russia, everything is forbidden, including what is allowed. And in France, everything is allowed, including what is forbidden. And Pottstown is like France. Everything's allowed, including what's forbidden. So we can have a zoning ordinance, but if somebody's determined to do it, they're going to do it anyway. So why don't you negotiate and get most of what you want and try and do it by educating? It won't take too long. First of all, we got the Bureau of Historic Preservation to declare most of Pottstown eligible for the National Register. And in the municipality's planning code, you're allowed to protect historic resources. So we said, okay, this is a historic area, and therefore we are going to have a design guidelines to make sure the new stuff is compatible with the old. It's not a historic district, it's a regular zoning district. And we are going to say new construction has to match what's there. Now, under Pennsylvania law, you have 3 months to give somebody a permit. So they come in with something we don't like. We have 3 months to try and talk them out of it. And that's what it is. We try and persuade them to do the right thing. And if they want to do the wrong thing, we're not going to do a thing for 3 months. They're just not going to get it. And I would say 80% of the time, people have cooperated. And it's usually the big companies like the McDonald's or the Wawa. They'll work with you. You know, if you have a rationale for what you want to do, it's the local little guy who, you know, the property rights guy, I'm going to do what I want, all that stuff. But if you're persuasive, we had a woman who wanted to close in her front porch. Bad idea, didn't look right. So we sent our design professional, and he went through the house, and he said, well, how much is it going to cost you? Well, I'm going to spend $15,000. So he goes through the house and said, you know, for $15,000 you could do this with your bathroom, you can put in nice cabinets here, you could do this, you could do that. By the time he left, she decided she didn't want to close in the porch anymore. She wanted to make all those other home improvements that he suggested. So you can talk people into, you know, doing the right thing. And so the language in the municipality planning code is protecting historic resources, and that's where we go. And the actual, if somebody wants to sue you type of thing is, we have 3 months, you know, to say no before we have to say yes, and we hope we can persuade them for that. So, Keystone Principles that are supposed to guide state agencies, and it's all smart growth. Our county, Montgomery, has just adopted a new development plan countywide, and they put the Keystone Principles in the development plan, and that's how stuff starts catching on. And if you want to go on the internet and look for the Keystone Principles, easy to find, and they're all the smart growth principles: preserve ag land, preserve historic resources, encouraging walkable communities, and so forth. It takes a while to catch on. It was passed in 2005, and it's just starting to catch on now.